Hi everybody. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers and people out there that's just having a day today. You know, some people don't have a father like me. My dad passed away, so I don't, have a father to say Happy Father's Day to all the sons and grandsons and people that you know that has kids. Just tell them Happy Father's Day, because they don't get celebrated like the mothers. So I just want to get on here and just say a few words, to build up the fathers, because I have 4 children, and their fathers is not in their life. And when you're a single mother, you got to understand, I had the best fathers, and I had 4 of them. In my mental health stage when I was having kids, shouldn't have been having kids out there with different people. But anyway, that's another story. So they was good fathers to my kids because they stayed away. And sometimes you got to understand why God would allow things to happen. First of all, we having kids in sin and selfishness, and we having children, because 95% of people that's born 95% of people that's born is not born out of love. They're born out of sin, out there fornicating and all of that. But anyway, I had some great fathers for my kids because they went on about their business. Them are the best fathers. People don't understand. Oh, you a deadbeat. They're not a deadbeat. They doing what they supposed to do. They doing what God had them to do. Is to get on. Get way on. Get the hell on. Because could you imagine that same father that you wanted in your kid's life, and they come in and mess up your child? Now you have to go and cuddle your kid because they messed up, abused, neglected. Now you got to come pick up the pieces, all because you wanted that father to be in their child's life so bad. I remember one time, it's in my book. Go get my book. It's called From a Poverty Mindset to a Wealthy Mindset. It's on Amazon by LaSheila Holmes. I remember one time when my grandmother died, and I was just, going through grieving, and God moved me out to a town in Terrell, Texas, and they got a house out there, and I, that was my chance to grieve and get myself together. And I remember I used to be an ignorant baby mama. Baby, I used to drop my children off. I remember one time I dropped one of my daughters off at a club to their daddy. Baby, I wasn't playing. I was ignorant. And I remember that Miss Brown, was her name, Dorothy Brown, from Terrell, Texas. She said, stop doing your kids like that, because you could be dropping them off and they could be getting molested. They could be getting abused. They can be getting neglected. You don't know what kind of seeds and what them people will be doing in front of your children. Now your kids come back all messed up. Now you trying to blame a dude that you put your kids on. We got to make it make sense. We have to make it make sense. So I stopped doing that, because every summer I'm going to drop them off, take them to them, have my family to drop them off. That's how I was, because I was ignorant. When you got to understand, when you start having kids out there in sin and having just laying up and fornicating and all that, see that man wanted to be your man, your after hours, whatever you call him at that time. He wanted that, be that for you. He didn't sign up to be no father. He didn't sign up to be no daddy. And then when we get pregnant, we want to push these kids off on these people. See, we need to ask these people, do you want to be a father? Because being your man, being your side dude, being your undercover after 12, whatever his position was at that point before you got pregnant, that's all he was signing up for. He wasn't signing up to be no parent. He wasn't signing up to be no daddy. And you can't get mad at these men when they sign up, when they don't sign up for that, because those are 2 different roles. He signed up to lay down with you and fornicate with you. That's what he signed up for. Yeah, it takes 2. Yeah, it takes 2. But somebody got to have common sense at the end of the day. Back then, you can either keep it or get rid of it. Now you got to just stay with it. So nowadays, folks shouldn't even want to lay down because the way stuff is set up now, you're going to have to just be stuck with it. And now it's a lot of single mothers out here stuck with decisions that they made because the dude already know. The man, he got gone. And some of them that said, oh yeah, I'm going to be there with you. And then turn out they didn't want to stay because it's hard raising a child. It's a lot of sacrifice raising a child. It's a 24-hour job. People don't want to sign up for that, especially not knowing who they are, what they called to be. If I can go back and tell my 18-year-old self, I would tell my 18-year-old self, do not get into no relationship. Go and complete everything and be successful, have your career, have a good time in life. Then you go get you somebody. Because see, people want to go get in these relationships and then we have all these babies and having a baby, that's an excuse. That's an excuse. Oh, I had kids so I couldn't fulfill my life. No, that's a lie. You can fulfill any career, anything that you want to do in life, but it's just going to be harder. Because see, you set yourself up like that. We can't blame anybody else. See, when you have to be self-aware of you. And then you have to, once become self-aware, then you got to hold yourself accountable for what you did. You got to hold yourself accountable. You laid down too. You decide to get up and keep it. Even if they said, oh, we're going to do this together and things don't turn out the way you wanted to turn out, you still have a decision. You don't give up your life. You don't give up your life because you had kids. You don't give up your life because you have a husband. So I would tell my 18-year-old self, don't get in no committed relationship until you get to the point of your life that you done accomplished everything that you want to accomplish. Now you can have a family. Because see, when we get into these relationships and we get in, I would say a relationship. Not having kids, if it happens, you can still progress. But getting into a relationship and knowing that you didn't even touch the peak of what you wanted to be, who God called us all to be somebody. God called us all to do something in life. And we all have a purpose. Everybody's purpose is just not to have kids. And he gave us all something. If that's what you feel that God, he just called me to be a mother, well, then that means that you need to go teach other women how to be a mother. If that's all he called you to do is lay down and have children, and that's your purpose is to lay down and have children, then you're supposed to go teach somebody else how to mother their children. But he gave us all gifts and talents. So I would tell anybody, don't go get in no relationship if you haven't completed everything that you wanted to be in life. Because see, that relationship is going to either make you or break you. First of all, now you got to have somebody else in mind when you make decisions. You got to take somebody else's feelings in consideration. You got to do this and you got to do that when you're in a relationship. Build yourself up until you can complete it as a person and you know who you are. If you don't know who you are before you get in a relationship, or if you don't know who you are before you have kids, and you don't know what your purpose, why you was created, don't lay down and have no kids, and don't get in no relationship. Because they will fill in the space where you trying to figure out yourself. Now you don't put yourself on the back burner, and then you get old, you're gonna be complaining. Then you get old, you're gonna find something to suppress your feelings and go into start having addictions because I didn't get to, and then you'll resent children, you'll resent relationships, you'll resent family because you didn't pursue your dreams and goals like you were supposed to. Now you're angry. I did not stop living. I did not stop living because I was a single mother and had kids. Baby, guess what? I took them kids and went the hell on. Because I didn't love them dudes. I was just having fun, baby, because I had my own money. I had my own car. I had my own place. So I was out there doing me. I was out there being big pimping. You know what I'm saying? But I chose the good ones out the group. I chose the good man out of the environment that I was in. My oldest son, his daddy went to college. And the other one, the second one, I don't know, I just fell off. I think I was grieving because of the first one. And so, all that kind of stuff. So don't give Don't give up on yourself because you done had children or in a relationship. People want to be in relationships more than they want to fulfill their goals and dreams in life. That's crazy to me. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. And then after either the relationship don't work or somebody becomes successful, because if you get into a relationship and neither one of you is successful, neither one of you have figured out their purpose, and one of y'all do, somebody gonna get mad. Somebody gonna get angry. Because how could two walk together unless they agree? Unless they agree. That's why a lot of relationships fail, is because one was growing and one stayed stagnated. One gave up. That's just like I hear people, oh, I'm gonna stay here in a relationship because we have kids. Why? Because, baby, if it stank, it stank. Back then, they used to say, you either boo-boo or get off the pot. But see, I don't go with all that old remedy stuff. Some of it I don't use. They said you either boo-boo or get off the pot. See, I don't just boo-boo and get off the pot. I'm gonna have to clean myself off. See, if you don't, they said boo-boo or get off the pot. In other words, either do it or you don't. Do it and keep going. So I got to clean myself up before I get off the pot. Because you can still be smelling like boo-boo. In a house with somebody that's treating you like crap, you go to the other room. That's you either or get off the pot. And the kids can smell that. The kids pick up on energies. The kids pick up when you're a single mother, and they be like, I don't like Johnny. Something about Johnny, because they can pick up on spirits. So for you to stay in a house, with somebody that your kids is telling you something's wrong, pay attention. Let me tell you why. Because back then, I used to smoke weed, was my thing. I grew up around alcoholics. My daddy was an alcoholic. And drinking was not my thing. And drinking was not my thing, but smoking was. I was a smoker in the family. Everybody else drank alcohol. And so with my kids, I would, I think I'm going to do some sizzling. With my kids, I would never smoke in the house. I wasn't a drinker or nothing like that. So I used to smoke, but I wouldn't smoke in the house. I had a house, so I would just go to the garage or go, I wouldn't even smoke in the garage. I would go down the alley, or I would smoke before I came home, wherever I was. But I never smelled like smoke. I would, put Visine in my eye for my eyes was red, but I ain't never smoked that till my eyes was red like that. And I put sanitizer and I clean myself up. So even though I didn't smoke in front of my kids, and they never knew their whole life that, baby, I was waking up to a blunt, going to bed with the blunt. They never knew that. So when my kids grew up, I started finding out. First I said, my weed used to come up missing. I'm like, I know I ain't going crazy, child. I know I'm not going crazy, child. I kept telling myself that because I used to smoke cigarettes. Yeah, I used to smoke cigarettes. And so stuff was coming up missing. I'm just like, I know I ain't crazy. I had a blunt, because I didn't smoke like that. So I could take one blunt. And that joker lasts me about 3 or 4 days because I didn't smoke like that. And so I would leave them in my cigarette pack, or, I hide them or whatever. So I kept noticing when I go back out to hit me something, it was gone. I'm like, well, maybe I, didn't think nothing of it. So my kids got grown. I found out that they all smoke weed. And I said, okay, Lord, I didn't do it in front of them. So while my kids smoke weeds, this is what God gave me. He said I was planting seeds in that house. When I was coming around high, that's a seed. When I had that weed tucked them in my drawer, in my panty drawers and all that, there was a seed being sown. So that's why you have to watch what you do. Those are seeds. Those were seeds I was still sowing around my kids. And that's why you got to watch what you bring around and think your kids don't know. Oh, I wait for my kids to go to sleep before old Tyrone come through the back door. See, that's a seed, that's a spirit we bringing in there. So when we started bringing I started bringing those that weed habit spirit around my kids. They all grew up and wanted to smoke weed, y'all. Because I brought that spirit. I brought that weed spirit in there on them. I'm thinking just because I don't do it in front of them, you know, I was good. But I wasn't good. But because I still brought that spirit in of being high. Still brought that spirit in of that stuff being in the house. That was a spirit. Everything a spirit. Anything that can change you, to make you change, is a spirit. That's what spirits do. Devils do. Stuff is spirit. Alcohol is spirit. It's liquid, but it's a spirit. You drink it, and then what you do? It's a spirit. Music is a spirit. You listening to it, what you want to do? Let your right beat, right, let the right one come. What you do? It's a spirit. It's a spirit. And I didn't know that. God had to show me that. You know, I'm thinking I'm doing good. Oh, I ain't never smoked around my kids. If my kids gonna be good. Nah, baby, they wasn't good. They had that, I exposed that spirit around them. That's why I said be careful on who you let come around and come out from amongst them. We don't even be knowing what that stuff really is until it happened to us. Like a lot of people, my brothers and sisters, like because my parents, they split up when my son was born, and my three younger siblings after them, they never really seen my daddy get drunk, but we did. So, like, one of my sisters act just like my daddy and never seen him drunk. Why? Because he brought that spirit around, left that spirit in our house. You know what I'm saying? Left that spirit. You know, it's not all about what you see. It's a spirit. It's a spirit. A spirit can fall on whoever it want to fall on. If you're not strong enough to say no, you have to have self-control when you're around people, because they say birds of a feather flock together. That's what that means. That's what that means. If you don't have if you don't have the Holy Spirit, which is within you, then you will come subject to whatever you're around. Because you got to have the Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit will start having you be discerning people around you so you can come out from amongst them. Because if you hang around 4 broke people, you're going to be number 5. If you hang around 4 rich people, you're going to be number 5. If you hang around 4 dope heads, you're going to be number 5. So whoever you're around, those spirits will take over you. Yes, baby. Those spirits take over you. So, I don't know how we got here, but we ended up here. So, all I'm saying is, wish them baby daddies a happy Father's Day. Because you know what? You know why? Wish them baby daddies a happy Father's Day. Even if they wasn't there or not there, guess what? If they wasn't there, it's a blessing. If they was there, it's still a blessing. Because I used to tell my kids, I never did bash my children's father, just let them grow up and they just have to know, because I wanted them to know them people as a father. See, I can't tell my kids about a man that I was messing with, because see, that was my dude. That was my nigga. You know what I'm saying? I was laying up with him now. Him being my dude and him being their father, that's 2 different roles. So, baby, I can't tell you what's happening, because that's 2 different roles. I don't know him as a father. I know him as my dude.